What is going on? Welcome to the VinesPomcast. I'm so excited for you guys to be with us tonight. The Reverend William Matthews, he is out tonight. Load management is what we're calling it. Now he's actually, he took his son to some WWE, so he's off tonight. But we've got a huge guest. I'm so excited for this. We've got Stephen Gonzalez, the SID for Liberty University men's basketball. Stephen, what's going on, man?
Nothing. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here. First off, thank you for what you do for our fan base and for helping promote our program. But quick shout out to Will. WWE, we were right, taking the little one to wrestling tonight.
Yeah, WWE, he's doing it big time. So no, he's not out because of the Liberty bracket drama. He's not, he's not just too scared to come on the air. Now he's doing some cool stuff. So
I don't know how it works out who won tonight, because he's probably seen Roman Reigns or someone. I'm old now. I'm in my 30s, so I was gonna say The Rock or like Stone Cold Steve Austin or Shawn Michaels, but you're stuck with me. So Will probably won tonight. So I guess we're the consolation matchup.
Awesome. So before we kind of jump into talking about the team, and definitely excited to hear about your trip to Hawaii, Stephen, I think I kind of have a general idea of what you do, but I probably actually have no idea. So tell everyone, what's your role with Liberty, and what all do you do?
Yeah, the most unknown job, I think, in college athletics is, what does an SID do? And what does an SID even stand for? I always joke that I am the most unathletic guy within the program. SID stands for Sports Information Director. It's kind of evolved into Director of Communications over as the years moved on. But handle all our media requests. So if we going to the NCAA tournament, CBS and TNT, they're the ones that are reaching out to me and saying they want to talk to coach, and setting up interviews and post-game interviews, helping out with social media here and there. Very blessed that I have two of the best in the game, with Jacob Webb doing graphic designs and snapping photos, and JB, Joe Bledsoe, doing our videography. So helping out wherever I can to assist them, but a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff. Again, most unathletic guy, but blessed that I get to travel with this awesome team and assist media any way possible, and then getting on podcasts like this. So I'm the lucky guy right now.
Sorry, I muted myself. I was saying before I wasn't saying. It's so cool to see just how far this basketball program has come, and I think you and your team and have a big part in that, and kind of seeing Liberty on the national scale. And talking about that, just we're playing in the Diamond Head Classic. Liberty was playing BYU on Christmas Day on ESPN2. How cool was that trip to Hawaii?
It was awesome. One of the best blessings we've had since I've been here. It's going on my 6th season with Coach McCann and the Flames. That's the Diamond Head Classic is the tournament during the holiday season in terms of Christmas, because you are the only show in town and throughout the nation. So I think couldn't be more thankful for the guys that paved the way for that tournament, for allowing us to be in there, like Georgie Pacheco-Ortiz, Caleb Holmesley, Myo Baxter-Bell, Scotty James, Ryan Kemwright, John Dawson, all the ones that helped elevate this program to get to a national stage. We were for that opportunity during Christmas. So learned a lot about our team. Wish we could have gotten a few more wins, but happy with the direction of this team. I think Flames Nation is going to be very excited to see this team grow come January, February, and March.
Yeah, we'll talk about some of the individual games. We'll go through each of the games here in a second. But what was the atmosphere like in Hawaii? What's it like playing in a tournament like that over the holidays? What's it like for the guys and all that kind of crazy stuff?
Yeah, first off, long. The trip. We go from Lynchburg to Charlotte to play in the Hall of Fame shootout at the Hornets Arena, and then from there we go to Phoenix and then from Phoenix to Hawaii. So we were thinking total we were away from Lynchburg for about 13 days. So that's a long time. And then to not only to go to Hawaii, the travel there is it takes a minute to get there. So, but our guys were so thankful and humbled by the experience there. You know, you get off the plane, and the Diamond Head Classic is there to greet us with leis, and it was just awesome. And I would say, in terms of the environment down at University of Hawaii, very intimate. It's a big arena, but a lot of locals come out. Probably not as many due to just what's going on in the country right now. But our families are there that travel with us to support Liberty, and then the teams we played against, their fan bases were pretty big, so there were good crowds. It was never quiet at the Stan Sheriff Center, so overall, great experience, and have nothing but great things to say for people at the Diamond Head Classic.
What was the news like when Stanford had to drop out of the tournament? Is it just kind of like a weird feeling? You know, you're over in Hawaii. I think I heard they had to have players like stay behind. Like that's got to be kind of like just a whirlwind like type experience.
Yeah, that's whirlwind, but I can't imagine what it was like for the people running the Diamond Head Classic, because to give you even a breakdown was we had a minute left in the first half against BYU. And during the game, I'm the one that's updating our social media just on Twitter. And so as soon as I go to send a tweet from a highlight, all I see is John Rothstein tweet out the championship game has been canceled at the Diamond Head Classic. And I kind of taken back and I look around, and you just see a lot of the people running the tournament are just kind of going back and forth. And it's just, you got to experience what everyone was like, looking at their phones saying, hey, like, is this real? Like, are you seeing what I'm seeing? And feel awful for Vanderbilt and Stanford. That was such a great tournament, and the most competitive non-conference tournament I've ever been a part of. So to see it end like that is a real bummer for those two teams. But yeah, can't imagine what they went through. And normally you'd say if you're stuck in Hawaii, that's a good thing, but I'm sure they would much rather play the championship than be stuck in Honolulu.
Is that kind of like I know there's a lot of uncertainty throughout college basketball right now, but is that kind of like just something that kind of weighs over your guys' head as you kind of get into conference play? I'm not even sure. I think I had read something before the ASUN had said for football that there could be forfeits. I know a lot of leagues are kind of like, yeah, this is actually a really, really bad idea and changing it. Do you know yet if there could be forfeits in ASUN play?
Yeah, good question. The ASUN has been great, first off. I think they've been very diligent in doing their homework and making sure we do what's best to keep everyone healthy, and then making sure we get the games in. I think having just ongoing conversation, and I'm not always in those talks. I'm not high enough the pay scale on that one, but everyone's doing their best to avoid having to cancel games. And I think they moved a game earlier today too. I believe it was Florida Gulf Coast, and I can't remember who off the top of my head. So at least that's being done. I think one thing on our end is it can be tough. I think we experienced that last year, just constant change, not knowing if you're going to play, when you're going to play. And I think one thing that our team has been amazing at is being grateful. Once again, like last year, not every game is guaranteed, not every game is promised. It could have been us that was canceled to face BYU instead of Stanford or Vanderbilt. So I think that we were lucky and blessed and grateful that we were able to play that game. So I think always going with a attitude of gratitude mindset going into every game and every week as we prepare for the ASUN.
I know that me just a dude who's a fan of Liberty. I know after you guys won the ASUN last year, I was like holding my breath like the whole time before the tournament. And I mean, I'm just a fan. I can only imagine what you guys were like. There was a team last year, I think it was Oregon, that had to drop out of the tournament. Man, it's just like,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. Going to the bubble and making sure everyone tests negative. It was like that was a win within itself. You're like, and you saw everyone in the bubble. I always tell anyone that asks, the NCAA tournament last year was like a big college basketball camp, and you just go in our practice, our meeting room was right next to Michigan State, and then we look over, then Ohio State's right next to us, and so, but then a bunch of us are catching up with friends that we know across the country, and it's just like, oh hey, like I went and saw friends from Grand Canyon. And it's like, hey, how's it going, buddy? And it's like, oh yeah, like there's Bryce Drew. So it was just so much fun. But yet, on the flip side of that, VCU was one of the teams that tested positive last year during the tournament, and they were in our block of hotel rooms. And you just see them, and there's nothing you can say to them, and they don't want to talk to anyone. It's just you feel so bad when it happens to another team, and so I think it's just another daily reminder of not everything is guaranteed. So be thankful for the blessings we've been given.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll keep our fingers crossed, and that this year will be a more normal tournament. But let's talk about some more fun stuff. I'm sorry to be depressing. I just something I was curious about, as we're kind of navigating through. So let's talk about these games. First game was awesome. Liberty knocks off Northern Iowa. This was a Northern Iowa team that I think it just won at Marshall by like 15 points. Really was playing really, really well coming into that game. Darius played well. Shiloh was a beast in that game. I think Kyle was 3 for 4 from 3, hit like 3 threes in a row. Liberty trailed by 11 points at one point. Micah B had a really, really good game off the bench. Stephen, what was your guys' thoughts on this game and kind of how big of a win was this for Liberty?
Yeah, first off, when you guys first released your first episode, I thought I was watching ESPN over here with the score graphics. So well done. I think Jacob Webb would give you 2 thumbs up on this one. So good job. Great win. One of the best wins I've seen in the last few years during non-conference, because like you said, we were down double digits. And for a young team to crawl back and fight against a really good opponent, I don't think a lot of people within college basketball knows. I don't think maybe Flames Nation or people, just your regular fans, know how good UNI is and how good AJ Green is. AJ Green is a fantastic player, and he's probably going to win Conference Player of the Year for UNI. And I think to hold them to 74 points it seems like a lot in the Liberty book, but because you knew they're champs, they weren't going to just go quietly, and they made it a close game. And for a young team to respond early in the first half the way they did is very impressive. Like the game before against East Carolina, again down double digits. So back-to-back wins, being down double digits is very impressive.
Yeah, and Northern Iowa also, they beat St. Bonaventure by 10 points on the road.
Yeah,
St. Bonaventure was top 25 team,
And they had come right off beating Virginia Tech and being top 20. Yeah, very, very impressive. Or I'm sorry, Virginia Tech was beating St. Bonaventure. So, yeah, top 25. If you would have told before heading to the Diamond Head Classic that we were going to beat a team in the top 25, you take that. So, very impressive win.
Yeah, I think Northern Iowa and East Carolina both are probably very close to this Liberty team, maybe in kind of overall and the numbers and all that kind of stuff. It was nice to see, hey, beating 2 teams that are kind of really, I think, close on your level. So huge wins there. All right, so the next game, 3-point loss to Stanford. Darius McGhee. If there was college basketball fanatics that didn't know who Darius McGhee is, they now do. 41 points. He was just insane. Liberty did lead by 1 point at 13 in this game, but Stanford, they had a crazy night from three. This was not a very good 3-point shooting team coming in. They shot 12 of 20. Man, it was just a fun basketball game. What was your thoughts on this one, Steven?
Before I give my thoughts, as a Liberty fan, what was it like seeing your guy, your ASUN player of the year, go for 41 points against a Pac-12 team?
It was insane. It's so cool to see Liberty hanging with Stanford, Liberty beating Stanford, and not be shocked. I remember when Liberty beat Wake Forest in 2017 or 18. That was a huge deal. It was awesome. All the credit to those guys. This I was like, oh yeah, we're beating Stanford. No big deal. Not that I take it for granted, but it's just cool that this is almost expected that we can compete in these games. And Darius he was insane. This was the game, and it was really nice to see him do this against one of the tallest teams in the country, because there was this kind of silly narrative going around that Darius, isn't going to be able to, score in some of the bigger, which is silly because he dropped 15 points against Virginia Tech in the NCAA tournament and went off against, I think it was Mississippi State in early last year. So it was kind of a silly narrative. It was just nice to see him do this against a huge Stanford team.
Great points. Totally agree. I think first off, I don't speak for the team, but being a small part of the program, our guys are very upset that we didn't get 2 more wins, and I think that shows the quality of this program, that we lost to a Pac-12 team that we had a chance to win, and we're upset. There was no moral victories in Honolulu. It was a great learning experience, but bummed we couldn't pull out these other two. But this was an NCAA tournament-like game from start to finish. It was very intense in the arena, and there was no dull moments, and the nation got to see what Darius is capable of. Like you said, if people didn't know who he was before, they do now. We saw it during preseason, a few things here and there that his name was being thrown around in mock drafts. And of course, people say, well, he's the ASUN player of the year. Of course, some draft experts are going to do that just as a courtesy. There was every player on Stanford except one player, I believe, was below 6'3". That was Nick. I've worked Phoenix. I've worked NBA training camps. We've played against, obviously, some elite competition in the last 6 years here at Liberty. That was the tallest team I've ever seen in person. That's on par with what you see at NBA games. So for a 5'8" guard from Liberty to put up 41 points against a team like that was pretty special. And it was very NCAA tournament-like atmosphere, in the sense that a lot of the locals from Honolulu, you just saw them rallying around this kid who was just scoring at will. And I'll even say this on my end. So part of my job is asking the media who they want to interview after the game, along with Coach McKay, and of course the whole week is just give us Darius. This is fine. So he ties the scoring record at the Diamond Head Classic. He ties our record here at Liberty, channeling his inner Matt Hildebrand over here. So legend, absolute legend. So, but anyways, Darius and I are walking back to the press room, and there's 5 people from the Diamond Head Classic working the tournament, and they're all locals, and they already have a box score, every one of them, asking them for his autograph. And then, since Darius and I are the last ones to walk out of the arenas, is because we've been doing media stuff, we walk out, and there's about five or so fans just waiting for Darius. And as soon as they got his autograph, they left. They saw who Stanford's players coming out. They could have cared less. And I think Darius made an impact at the Diamond Head Classic that not many locals that are tuned in are gonna ever forget. So he, and put in perspective, he broke Buddy Hield's record. That's absolutely amazing. That's a guy that's a borderline all-star. And Darius, I wouldn't say shattered, but he broke his record pretty easily.
I mean, he won the MVP as on the fourth place team. Like,
Yeah.
who does that? Like that's not very normal.
And I would tell you, it was the least happy Darius has ever seen me after a game, and for his side, he knew what I was coming up for, and I said it's not just all tournament. You won MVP, and he was a little bummed out. As in, I don't care about the MVP. I want to win the games. So I would tell you, Darius would gladly trade in those records for 2 more wins.
Yeah. So we kind of leaped into it a little bit, which is totally fine. But the BYU game, 80-75. As Steven mentioned, broke Buddy Hield's record, which is just so cool. If anyone watched Buddy Hield in college, he was incredible. One of the most fun players I think I've ever, kind of watched in my lifetime for sure. But Liberty played good in this game as well. I believe it was the second best offensive efficiency game against BYU this year. BYU is a really, really good defensive team. And Liberty scored 75 on them. I think BYU probably doesn't get enough credit for how good they are defensively. And I know you said no moral victories, and I think it's great that they have that mindset, but I just want to remind you, I think sometimes people forget, and that's okay. We're fans, we're excited. The team that won an NCAA tournament game lost to Vanderbilt, lost to Georgetown, lost to Alabama, lost to Austin Peay. UCLA was like their 6th chance before they kind of got like that marquee win. And I think all those other games most of them they played very competitive. But I think it really kind of, hopefully like this tournament, it helped prepare them, for the NCAA tournament and down the line from playing close in these tight competitive games. Did you guys kind of get that feel at all?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I keep saying the word growth. This was the best experience for our young players, other than Keegan, Darius, Shiloh, and Kyle. None of these players, these freshmen and sophomores, have played significant minutes in the ASUN during even just the regular season alone, not even counting ASUN tournament and NCAA tournament. So, and BYU, that's a perennial NCAA tournament team that is the perfect display of what you're going to face in the tournament. BYU isn't going to shoot themselves in the foot very often, and I think that showed a young team, hey, this is the blueprint, or this is what it's going to take to win in March. So so thankful and grateful for the games we had against Northern Iowa, Stanford, and BYU. And then Darius continued to just be amazing. During the first half, to give you a little inside scoop, the tournament people come up to me during halftime, and I forget what Darius may have had. He may have had like 12 or 14 points. I don't know off the top of my head. But the people who I say, just an FYI, like, this is Buddy Hield's record. They're like, he probably may not get there. They're like, but this is it just in case. And then they're like, I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. And then sure enough, with 8 minutes left in the game, they're coming up to me and be like, okay, he shattered the record already for 3-pointers. We totally forgot about that. Okay, he's going to break Buddy Hield's record. And you just saw everyone in the back of press row just doing their research, and they're just like, oh my gosh, this kid is just rewriting the record book. And it started off as, hey, Darius will be on the all-tournament team, but we don't think we can give him the MVP trophy. And then sure enough, at the last media timeout, they said there's no debate. Like, he's been the best player in this tournament. So they're like, if you guys are okay with it, we'll give him the MVP. So, yeah, but to put a bow on BYU, so physical and such a smart team. So I think if you want to win in March, those are the type of teams we're gonna have to face, and hopefully we do enough throughout February and March to get there.
Yeah, I mean, BYU, they could go on an absolute run and be like a 3 or 4 seed in the tournament.
Absolutely, top 25 until about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. Real quick on Darius, the one thing I've noticed, in addition to the scoring, Chris Parker was a huge loss. I think people underestimated how big he was. Just such a good player and so calm and always played under control. And Darius is kind of. It seems like Richie's kind of trying to figure out how he wants to run the point. And Darius has been playing more of the point, or maybe the one guard I've seen to be taking the ball off the floor and kind of being creative to get him off the ball a little bit. But it seems like Darius, and I don't know, maybe I'm not seeing this right. It seems like he's getting more and more comfortable distributing as the season's going on. Do you guys kind of get that sense that he's kind of becoming more comfortable, more, just kind of adding that to his repertoire, being kind of more of a distributor?
Yeah, very observant and good observation. Another part of my job is when we go to big tournaments like the Diamond Head Classic or when we play at Charlotte in the shootout, those games are on ESPN. So the TV crew will go to practice usually the morning of or the night before, and I'll meet with the two TV talent to just kind of give them some background and give them more info. And I've told them, Nick, I was like, they asked, they're like, well, is Darius a point guard and this and that? Like he can distribute, but sometimes we'll see that he leads the team in rebounds some nights. And I said, I've always told everyone, I'm like, just think of this team as a piece of clay right now. A lot of these pieces haven't played together. And sometimes you'll try and figure something out and it's like, that may not work. Or, hey, what if we try this? And it's this, I think we're slowly forming into something or trying to figure out what we can be. And some nights that may be Darius handling the ball. And then we're so blessed that we have Kyle Rode and his IQ because he's the quarterback on the court. He's able, his IQ is so off the charts, Nick, and he's able to see things we joke that he's the fourth assistant coach. And then sometimes you have Micaiah. Then, yeah, I think we're slowly developing some options to handle the ball. And that may be a good thing because you can't just circle in on just one ball handler.
Is Micaiah taking the ball up the court? Is that Mayo's idea? It looks like Mayo. It's like I feel like I'm going back in time, seeing him do that.
You could blame Mayo for a lot of things, and most of them are pretty good actually. So
that's awesome.
If you tell a big man within our program, hey, I saw Mayo bring the ball up the court. How can I do that? So yeah, Mayo is. We've been the benefactor of a lot of blessings that Mayo has given us.
I don't know if there's ever going to be a cooler Liberty basketball player than Mayo Baxter. I
tell everyone, I bet you he's probably the most popular player. If we did a Liberty Twitter bracket challenge of just, I won't say the entire athletic department of our sports, but if you just did Liberty basketball, I bet you I'd put money on Mayo basketball to win the bracket.
Absolutely. All right, and then we'll real quickly, was it Boyce? I don't even remember. This was on New Year's Eve. I tried to watch as much as I could, but with the kids and another non-D1 game, which I know it's super hard to fill games, and you guys have really done an awesome job filling all these big games. But I did want to ask you about the three players that were out. I don't know if you can give us any input on them. I think McDowell was just getting some rest. Do you expect these three guys back against Stetson on Tuesday?
Yeah. Keegan, just we say some load management. When you're a senior, I guess you get that privilege. I'm joking with Keegan. Love Keegan. And then just non-COVID illness, just making sure everyone's healthy and ready to go for ASUN play. And as I told people, like think of Boyce, our game against Boyce as a great yoga stretch. Just it was very taxing going back to Lynchburg from Honolulu. A lot of our guys' flights were delayed. Some again didn't get back till very late. Some I think we had one player that it took him 18 hours to get home. So to go from there straight into ASUN play would have been very difficult. So I think New Year's Eve was a great way, kind of knock the rust off, kind of stretch and get some shots back home in Lynchburg, and then get ready. All eyes towards ASUN play.
Yeah, it was nice to see Jonathan Jackson hit a couple shots in that game. You never know as the season goes on, with illnesses and things like that we hope don't happen. Jonathan might have a spot where he really has to play some significant minutes. So always nice to see, guys like him. And I tell you, that guy, he can sit on the bench for 30 minutes and just step right in and drill a three. It's insane.
Jonathan is an elite shooter. I think he would even tell you that he's the best shooter in his family. So Jonathan and I are very invested right now because he signed with my favorite team, the Suns. So I imagine when we're on the road this week, we'll probably catch some Suns games together.
That's awesome. Shooter shoot. Before we move on to the next thing, so I do have to ask you, why don't we have a home and home with Grand Canyon? I need that to happen. Their atmosphere is so cool. These two schools seem like they were built for a home and home.
Yeah. Yes, we are. Takes two to agree. And then also going all the way to Phoenix, Arizona is for just one game is very difficult. Not only budget wise, but also just traveling cross country just for one game. And so you try to get more games out there if possible. And again, that goes to having other suitors willing to play you. I will say for it's been very hard to schedule. But I've always said that's a good thing. That means we're doing something right here good in Lynchburg. So but hey, I came from Grand Canyon. I would always be willing to go down and face the Lopes.
Not getting a lot of calls from UCLA these days to come play.
No. We've enjoyed our two games in the Pac-12. They've been very competitive the last two.
Awesome, fantastic. And maybe with New Mexico State, maybe we can find a way to swing a trip combined when we start having to play them every year. All right, so here's kind of our update. Darius, I feel like the last time I did this, he was at 17 points per game, and now he's up to 21. Obviously, the eye-popping numbers. Keegan McDowell. Real quick, tell me about Keegan and what just an incredible story. A guy that was on his way out, has come back, and is the second leading scorer, and is now on load management. That's how good he's been. That's a testament to him.
Yeah, amazing human being. He's been a blessing more off the court than he has on the court throughout his time, and that's saying a lot because, like you said, he's playing amazing basketball this year. I will say when his junior year, when everything was kind of in transition and he thought about transferring, normally you would think if that was the plan, then the rest of the team during the season really wouldn't have a need to talk to him. And it was the opposite. It was more, hey, I'm struggling, so let me go talk to Keegan, or let me just grab coffee, or let's just go shoot together. And to see, Keegan his whole time, his 5 years here, and to see his growth has been amazing, because that's what being a student athlete in college is all about: to grow, to get an education, and to now benefit yourself as much as possible with NIL, but also to see them grow up. And he's turned from he came from Moeller as a quiet shooter, and now he's leading as a leader, and engaged to an awesome woman in Ashton Baker. So I know they're going to have shooting competitions for the rest of their life, seeing still who's a better shooter in their for their years to come. But amazing human being, not just as a basketball player, but off the court.
Is Keegan a Reds fan?
No, if he's a Reds fan. I know he's a Bengals fan. I think he claims the Reds. I know he doesn't claim the. Who else am I missing?
Ohio State Bearcats.
No. Yeah,
Xavier.
I think he's a Reds fan. I know
Awesome.
as him and Zach, we got a lot of Ohio guys, with especially still in the building with Mayo, Zach, Farquhar, and Keegan. or as they both like to call them, the Jungle Cats, not the Bengals. So and they're probably pretty happy right now because they're AFC North champs.
Yeah, I'm from Cincinnati. I don't follow football as close. I'm a diehard Reds fan, so I saw him posting on it.
That's what I was thinking of. Yeah, Indians.
I saw him post something on Instagram about the Bengals today, but I was like, is he a Reds fan? That'll up Keegan up to another level for me. But yeah, Keegan's been awesome. You see his KenPom offensive rating. He's just been insanely efficient. Like his 10 points, like he's only shooting like 4 or 5 shots a game and scoring that.
Absolutely. Yeah, 26th in the nation and 3-point field goal percentage, and in this past 2 years has been great for him. We had a lot of ball dominant guys when he was early in his career here at Liberty. So I think this style suits him more, and it's just much more. It's not ball dominant. So I think the last 2 years has been a blessing, not just for him but for us.
Yeah, wanted to shout out a couple other guys. Blake Preston and Kyle Rode and Shiloh Robinson all played really, really well in Hawaii. We won't run through every single player because I don't want to keep you here till midnight. But one other guy I have to mention, he's kind of getting some love from the Liberty community. The Free Abib movement is alive and well. What can you tell me about my man Abib and what he's been able to do this year? Because he kind of became the forgotten man, and he's really come on lately. Had some really eye-popping plus-minus numbers in some of these games. What's up with Abib right now?
Mekhi is such a blessing. He's such a unique kid. He would tell you sometimes he enjoys the game. He's a big gamer. I think if I'm saying that right, I'm making myself feel old now or sound old. Loves the video games, but so, and don't ever talk bad about LeBron because he'll come at you. So, but just such a fabulous kid that's learning how to adjust to life in college. I think he is uber talented, super talented, whatever adjective you want to put next to Mekhi. It just takes time. Like it's I love Flames Nation and their Free Abib, love it. I don't know if Mekhi even knows or he would tell you he loves it. But seeing a kid just mature and develop into such a hard worker has been awesome to watch. And there will be no need to free Abib. He'll be here for many years to come and continue to provide many highlights in a Flames uniform.
That's awesome. Yeah, he could give Mayo a run for his money if he gives us a strong couple more years. He's a really, really easy guy to root for, and he's just, I think, the perfect representation of Liberty basketball under Richie McKay and the culture that he's built. A guy that had these just incredible performances against Power 5 schools last year, kind of fell down on the depth chart, but he didn't, say at the end of the year, what, hey, I'm going to transfer out. I got this film that's going to get me somewhere. He stayed the course, and it seems like it's paying off for him right now. And I'm so excited for him. He's just, I love his game. I love his game.
Yeah. And one thing I would say is being a big in college basketball, just like the NBA, it takes time. You're not you don't have the ball in your hands 24/7 like a guard. So finding ways to make an impact on the game takes time. And also he kind of experienced a little bit of what Blake went through with Scotty and Mayo. You can't, it's very hard to step in right from high school and just make an immediate impact day in and day out, game after game. And it's been a blessing. We had Scotty, we had Mayo, and then you think, oh, how are we going to replace that? And then in comes Blake and makes an immediate impact. And then Mekhi's just waiting his time and has found ways to make an impact. So excited about the future. And Blake's been great with just like all our bigs, like Shiloh have been great in helping Mekhi along the way.
Yeah, I'm excited for Blake in ASUN play. I think that's where he's really, the size really comes down, and he dominated last year. He was one of the best players in the ASUN. I think KenPom had him as one of the top 5 players. And
I was gonna give you a hard time if you didn't bring up Blake Preston in KenPom during ASUN play, because he looks good on the numbers on KenPom.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's look at the ASUN. Here's where things stand right now. Liberty has taken over. They are the top in net in KenPom as we begin ASUN play. But Jacksonville State, oh boy, they are right on the heels. I am so excited for Jacksonville State. Very happy that they're coming to Lynchburg this year instead of having just one game there. Jacksonville, Florida Gulf Coast, Eastern Kentucky all had, I think, really impressive non-conference. This is a very competitive league this year. I think outside of the first year when Liberty joined the ASUN and Lipscomb was honestly ridiculous. They didn't make the NCAA tournament. They showed in the NIT that they were a massive snub. As much as we love to give them, crap, they were a really, really good team that year. I think this is the most excited I've been outside of that year for ASUN play. What's your overall thoughts on the ASUN this season?
Exciting. Not only the ASUN continues to grow, and the ASUN has been a great conference for us. It's provided great competition. I don't think people realize or appreciate how good that Lipscomb team was. Garrison Matthews is on his second team and his second NBA contract. That's impressive to come from Lipscomb and go straight to the NBA and have a significant role in 2 teams in the NBA. So I look back and I'm thankful for that Lipscomb team back in 2019. But it's so exciting, Nick, because it's all essentially almost brand new. You're adding a few new schools to the ASUN party and places we've never been to, and then the conference just continues to rise its level of play. So it's going to be very exciting. And Nick, you haven't really even talked about Bellarmine, who was so great last year towards the end of the season, and then North Florida, who's always going to be good. They just had a gauntlet of a non-conference schedule. So, and then, like you said, the newcomers, Jacksonville State has looked sensational this non-conference, and Eastern Kentucky has had some big wins. People aren't going to look at them beating Milwaukee as a big deal, but they have the number 2 recruit in the country. So, and they beat them pretty good for the majority of the game. So, exciting, eager. As we tell our newcomers every year, and hopefully Flames Nation knows, conference play is the hardest part of the season. Everyone knows who you are. Everyone knows the scouting report, and everyone is out to get us. Everyone wants to take down the top dog, and we've been fortunate enough to have a good run these last 3 years. But it's a new season, and we're ready to get going on January 4th.
Yeah, North Florida, they shoot 1 billion threes, so it doesn't matter what their ranking is. If they have one of those nights, it is what it is. Like, it's incredible how many threes they get up. Like, it's like, oh wow, they just shot that.
Love Coach Driscoll and a fellow Lexington Christian Academy and Carter Hendrickson. So excited for them and the rest of the race.
Carter Hendrickson, yeah, I can't believe he's still there. I feel like he's been there 100 years. When he's hot, he's a really, really, really a talented player. But yeah, I like what you said about how this it feels like almost a new conference. And yeah, Bellarmine, they played a really cool arena, playing at Louisville's Freedom Hall, their old arena, which is really cool. They actually, being from that area, they have the Louisville Bats play-by-play guy is their TV guy. Awesome. I watch a lot of ASUN basketball in ESPN Plus when Liberty's not playing.
I'll tell you, Nick, ESPN Plus is the greatest invention for a college basketball fan. But I would tell you it's the Liberty basketball wives and girlfriends' probably least favorite invention, because we come home from practice and we'll turn on the TV and it's like, oh, okay, Jacksonville State is playing. Okay, Eastern Kentucky is playing West Virginia. Okay, well, my night's set, and you're just...
It's a lot easier than the old like Big South Network days where you had to like hook up your HDMI cable into your TV. It was a lot more work than just putting on the Roku and going to it.
That's awesome.
But yeah, here's the upcoming schedule. Stetson, man, no favor. Liberty's 0-2 against Stetson at Stetson so far.
1-2. 1-2.
1-2. We did win there. Did we win there the first year?
Or I'm sorry, 2-2. Yes.
Okay.
Won the first year there, then we split last year.
Yeah, man. That's like the nightmare game on the road. They just they seem to be, maybe one of our. I'm sorry, I say "or." I'm just a fan, but
you're a part of it, Nick.
They seem to be our kryptonite, a little bit defensively. They have really found a way to some of these, like I think they did like the box and one defense. Yeah, that's you start off right. They're going to jump right into it. Good to have a tune-up game, like you said. And then I'm really looking forward to January 15th. Florida Gulf Coast on the road. That's going to be a really good game. Florida Gulf Coast has had a really, really impressive non-conference. Their computer numbers have really shot up. And then even Kennesaw, they almost beat Creighton. So, I think overall it's a more favorable, like first 5 games on paper. But like you said, none of these matchups are cakewalks. I don't think there's really any cakewalks. There might be one team. I'm not going to say I'm going to be nice and not give them any hate. I think there's one team that's maybe, really, probably going to be down this year. But everyone else, I think, is capable, especially in their building, of beating you any night.
Yeah, absolutely. When you talk about, as you should, a great Flames Nation fan, favorable matchups here and there. And then when I'm looking at the screen right now and I see Stetson, I see Christian Jones, I get worried. I see Kennesaw State. I almost think of my scouting report when I'm going into our meeting tomorrow morning with the coaches. And then I see North Florida Hendrickson, and then I see Samuels for Florida, and I'm like, oh my gosh, are we ready for conference play? So I would say I hope Flames Nation appreciates this run that we're going on, because it's hard to win games, Nick, especially in conference. And if you don't believe us, look at Christian Jones at Stetson, because he has been a nightmare for us the past 3 seasons. So it's going to be an exciting game, an exciting season during ASUN play.
And not only just winning these regular season games, I think we really need to appreciate winning 3 straight tournaments. It doesn't matter what seed you are in these tournaments. As someone who loves college basketball and watches a lot of these tournaments, I mean, these number 1 seeds that dominate the league still feels like they're almost like a 50-50 shot of actually winning their tournament. Just, being able to win 3 games in a row when your season's on the line, man, that is tough. So that in itself is just such a huge accomplishment.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing, if I put my nerdy SID hat on right now, doing my summer research, we hope we can be as successful as we can be during the rest of the season, and go for 4 ASUN regular season titles and 4 ASUN tournament titles. That hasn't been done since, if I remember correctly, like two times the last, I believe, 40 years. And we're talking UMass when John Calipari was there before he went to the NBA. And we're talking even Gonzaga has only done that once in the last 20 years, I believe. And Cincinnati went on a run before they moved to the American Conference. So it's hard to do. We're reaching historical numbers just in terms of college basketball. So what this program has done is pretty remarkable. And we always talk about, I know when Darius scores 30 points a game during the Diamond Head Classic, it's like, what are we going to do next year when we lose Darius? Well, I remember 2 years ago when we said, oh my gosh, what are we going to do after Lavelle left? And it was like, okay, well, now Caleb is signing an NBA G League contract. What are we going to do now? And then Cuff steps up. So, and now it was, what are we going to do when Chris Parker leaves? And Darius has continued to elevate his game. So I think we're building something pretty special here at Liberty. So I hope Flames Nation is appreciating it, and go enjoy it. Liberty Arena is a blast. So, and if you're on the road, let us know. we'll come find you. We'll come give you some tickets. So it's going to be an exciting time.
Awesome. Well, I know I'm appreciative. You're seeing Liberty just compete, like I said earlier, in just some of these games. Just and it's not a shock. It's so cool to see, and it's so awesome to see how far the program's come. And Steven, I know you have a lot to do with that behind the scenes, and I know I'm really appreciative of all that you do and all that you do to keep this team, on the national radar, and all the things you tweet out and all the promotion that you do. So, Steven, thank you so much for coming on. This was a blast. I think it's gonna be our highest rated show ever. I think so.
I don't know about that. Your account may get blocked now from Twitter. So well, I have to ask you a question then. If you take out ASUN championships, what has been your most exciting or memorable win during this run?
You're talking in ASUN play?
It could be any game, just not an ASUN championship.
I mean, the easiest would probably be UCLA, just because of like how much they dominated UCLA. Just went in there, and poor Steve Alford got fired after that game. So and it was cool because he was so like a complimentary of Scotty James, especially. I remember that. I'll try to give you one a little more off the radar. I thought I think it was the Jacksonville game last year, where you guys were down a bunch. Chris Parker had a really, really great run at the end, kept making a bunch of mid-range jumpers. That game looked like it was over, and you guys kind of came back and won that. That was a really, really exciting game. So maybe that's kind of one a little bit more off the radar. But yeah, UCLA. I mean, it's hard to top that game. That game was so special to watch as a Liberty fan, and that was maybe like the one moment it's like, all right, this team's arrived, and it felt like that was the springboard, into the next year. Starting, it was a 12-0. It just felt 14. Sorry,
there you go. 12, that's SID brain coming out. So
12-0 was after Vanderbilt, I think, right? That was like the big marquee win of that 12-0.
Yeah, then we had the holiday tournament against Towson and Akron.
Yeah, those were all just great, great wins. That team was so fun, and what a fun run. But yeah, I'd say that.
I love it. It's because I wanted to ask you, during the preseason, you put out all the videos, which I will say, I shout out to Sam Thomas. He assists with our video coordinating stuff for Liberty basketball. But after every game, I usually just get the games on the road, or if we're at home, get them on my hard drive or my Lacy, and I'll just rewatch games while I'm doing game notes or just working in the office. And leading up to every season, I'll just watch my favorite games. So I looked at my Twitter. I said, I think Nick he was like reading my mind or something, because now I started watching every game. So maybe I'll start showing which game I'm watching throughout the year. And that's why we talked about, I mentioned North Florida. I never believe their record looking at their schedule, because every game we played against them, I almost want to have a heart attack on press row. So they've been the most intense games during conference play. So it's fun going back and looking at those games.
Awesome. Well, Steven, thank you so much for joining us. We'll be praying for you. Best of luck in the rest of the season. And as we always say, go Flames.
Okay.